Why me?
You're a stuntman. Nobody's gonna notice you. That's your job. No offense.
I mean, some taken.
You find Ryder, save Jodie's film. You get the love of your life back.
I'm not the hero, I'm just the double. Not today, you're not.
Hello, beautiful people. How are you doing?
Hey,
How are you,
How
Scott?
you?
Good to see all of you again. Hope you're all doing well. So congratulations on this film. I got to see it at South by Southwest. What a blast. I know, Hannah, this was your first time there, so I would love to know what your experience was like, but then for Stephanie and Winston, what it was like being back.
I was a little bit overwhelmed by it all, if I'm honest, because we had, first of all, it's my first time at South by. Second, it was being in a movie that I'm still pinching myself that I was in with these guys. And then the third thing was all the stunts happening outside the front of the building. It was a proper, as a geek of the 80s action movie genre, I was just like, you know the Aha video, Take On Me, where he jumps in the... I felt like that. It was just a proper pinch me moment. You know, really incredible.
For me, being back, it just was really refreshing because Austin is such a movie city, and not just a movie city, but an arts city. It's a city that really respects the arts. You can find tons of different performing arts in the city at all times. So it's always an honest city to premiere a film in. They let you know if it's good, and they also let you know if it's bad. So when you're there and it works, and Fall Guy really worked in that room, you can tell, and it's one of the best barometers I could ever imagine.
Yeah, this is my third year in a row somehow. South by was my very first film festival, and I've been there back, every year since then. And it truly is like one of the most special audiences and communities who really just love film. And that theater is so special. And you were there that night. I got to see the film for the first time that night as well. So I felt like a little South by, audience member, where I'm just like, I get to see the world premiere of this film. And it is like, when it works, it is electric and it is so fun. And it is exactly why we all got into this, is just loving movies and to have a good time with a room full of people.
Yeah, that room was insane. It was like a bunch of teenagers, wasn't it, Scott?
Yeah.
They got all the jokes because they love movies, and we had a lot of jokes about movies. So it's one of those things where it's a room full of people who just get it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, I've been there so many times over the years. I think, Stephanie, I've been there for all three of your movies. And it's such a different vibe every single time, and the reaction is always different. But it's so playful, and I love that about the festival. I have so much to ask you guys. Probably not going to get through all of it. But I'm very curious. This is something that I love asking, because I know working with a filmmaker always varies from person to person. Is there something that you learned from David on this film that you would take with you for another project, or to another project, I should say?
I mean, so much, but I feel like what's so beautiful specifically about this film, and I said this to him after the premiere at South by, I was like, this film is special because he has had such an incredible career as a director, but nobody could have made The Fall Guy, this movie, other than him. And it feels like such a beautiful amalgamation of his history as a stuntman and as a director, and his heart and his love, Kelly, folded into this baby. And I feel like what I watched him do while he led the pack, led all of us through this film, is when you lead with that type of heart, wisdom, and vulnerability, actually, that a great story can come out of it. And I think this is David's write what you know.
Yes.
That's what makes it feel so special.
Very much so. It was really lovely, actually, watching David and Kelly conduct themselves through the making of this movie, because they are so beautifully, deeply in love with each other. And it was very interesting and rather beautiful watching Ryan and Emily very obviously pick up on that and the importance of that proper romance through the movie as well, and where they were going to land the placement of the kiss. I found fascinating watching that, and how collaborative David and Kelly were about when that moment should come for the audience. So there's obviously the stunt element of it all, and the homage to the 80s series, but I loved watching the honest, beautiful boy meets girl romance through it. It was really lovely.
I loved being a part of a director having a conversation with an audience and really choosing a topic that means a lot to him and people that he represent. And, you know, it being so consumable and fun and palatable is a really great disguise for a really great conversation piece. A really great conversation piece that has like social justice at the core of it. And it was really fun to watch that done with that director's personality, that director's way and like reason for being. So I thought it was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, watching this film, I mean, I was not part of it, obviously, but as an audience member, I kind of echo everything that you said, each of you, because like you can feel like this is a passion project,
Yeah.
and there's so much love that's on display, and everyone's in it. Like it's conveyed to every single person who's in this movie, who's working behind the scenes. It's there, and you feel it as an audience member, and I think that's really special about this movie.
Well, I think a lot of it as well, Winston was talking earlier about the fact that we're constantly thinking about the temperature of the audience, you know, the psychological effect things have on an audience, and you can feel that at any particular moment. And having witnessed it, particularly in like the trailer scene at the beginning of it, Colt and Gail talking, we were constantly talking about when do we give the audience any hint of anything. And I loved being around them doing that. It wasn't like big movie director and big movie star, you know, just showing off through a movie. It was constantly, what is the psychology of the audience at this particular moment? Do we give them this here? Do we give them that nugget there, that Easter egg there? It was really, really lovely to watch.
Things that I hear a lot about, and I mean, even myself, I've been guilty of saying this, and I know every single review has said this so far, is that this is a love letter to the stunt community in some way, shape, or form. So as actors, I'm very curious, working on something that was so stunt driven, is there a takeaway that you learned from the working with like 87 North Productions that you didn't have prior to this movie?
Well, for me, I played a stunt coordinator, and essentially being the actor doing stunts, usually I'm just very heavily involved in my own section, and I'm worrying about myself and worrying about my scene partner, but it's a lot more truncated and reduced my purview of what's going on. And then playing the stunt coordinator, I got to really shadow the stunt coordinator and realize that their responsibility extends to the entire filming community on set. So it's not just their stunt team, but it's all of us, the actors, the people shooting. They've got to make sure that everything is calculated. You know, there's a lot of science and math that goes into all these things for them to, you know, for them to be achieved. So it really left me with the wide, huge sense of responsibility that it takes for the stunt community to achieve what they do. And I left with so much more respect. I always had respect for what they did, but I left with so much more respect after participating in a project in this manner.
My thing was watching how many hours they train and train and train and have done since they were probably, you know, little kids, to make sure that everything is done with such a kind of concern for the massive risk, the physical danger that they are in any given moment, whether it's a massive thing or something small. They are constantly training all the time. They are unbelievable athletes. And it really kind of opened my eyes to, it's a vocation. You know, we talk about acting or singing or whatever being such a vocation. Being a stunt performer is absolutely unyielding and a life choice. And we had the very best of it on our movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the camaraderie is incredible.
Yeah.
And it, you know, as we say, it's not a love letter to stunt performers. It's a love letter to the stunt community. And that is literally what it takes to make movies like this possible.
Yeah, it added a human layer to, it's often you see because they're so physical, you don't realize that they are generative artists. I think that's the thing that also came through in this film is that the stunt community and all the stunt coordinators and the stunt teams, they're generative artists. So the conversation of recognition should be a no-brainer. These are artists that need recognition for their contribution. So that was another thing. So it's just a bouquet of takeaways. And we've just been, it's an honor to be a part of a
100%.
film like this.
Thank you so much for your really thought-provoking answers too. I love how each one of you took the time to kind of really answer each one of the questions. Means a lot. Best of luck with this film. If there's anything that I can do to help promote this, let me know. I would love to support this film as much as possible. It's a great movie, and I hope it's one of the biggest ones of the year.
Yes,
you
thanks
so
so much,
much.
Scott. All the best
Thank
to you.
you, Scott.